welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan,
And I'm Meg.
and we are talking about Dr. Stone, episode 33, To Destroy and to Save.
In this episode, several of the kingdom's strongest fighters are locked in battle with Hyoga and Tsukasa. Meanwhile, Senku, Gen, and Chrome make it to the Miracle Cave. They'll have very little time to put together a weapon to end the war.
Yes,
And
this
this is
is,
season 2, episode 9.
yes. Manga chapter 77, The Power of Science, and 78, That Which Destroys or Saves.
Mhm. This is I don't know, I like this episode. I do have well we can talk about it later
Okay.
when we get there. Anyway. Yeah, so all of the okay, I don't ever remember. Is it the battle team? Is that what they call them?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. The battle team are fighting Tsukasa and Hyoga. Actually, wait, before
Yeah,
before anything. Oh man, we get like this shot of like the cave and the like turned over
Ukyo's prone body with
and then we
blood
just in like the
spewing
kind
out the
of just
bottom.
yeah, just like kind of in the corner. There's no one else in the scene except for Ukyo, totally just like laid out and bleeding out. And it's just like silent. It just like there's the scene.
He's like in the shadowy part of the frame too. Like
Yeah.
poor little guy can't even get any screen time in like light or in frame completely.
Oh, so good. I'm laughing so hard at that, even though it's not funny. We've seen it, so it's fine.
Like guys, honestly, you got a man
No,
down, please. Somebody do triage. Come
right?
on.
No one, I mean, I know they're busy, but no one
No
was
one
like,
gives a single rip about this dude who was helping you all this time.
yeah, so bad. Sorry, my voice just totally died for a second. Yeah, kind of crazy, but that's what's happening. And everybody's working. The science team is hard at work. Senku's like trying to figure out what to do, and Gen is like, well, he to be honest, he's not being helpful. He's just freaking out. Like, what are we gonna do? We don't have anything. Everything's been
Like
destroyed.
he's like trying to come up with ideas and spitballing and like throwing things out of his sleeves, like his magic things. He's like, I got flowers, I got paper, I got what do you need? What do you need? And he doesn't really have anything at first that like Senku can use. So Senku's like, I don't know. I'm trying to work with what we've got.
And he's like, Chrome's not doing anything. It's like Senku's like, no, Chrome has his own process. Leave him alone.
Yeah, he's just like he's scanning the battlefield. Kudos to him because like although it makes sense that Senku and Gen and Chrome would head towards the Miracle Cave because you got like nitric acid, you can work with chemicals in there, and you have a little peace and quiet away from the battlefield. I think it was smart of Chrome to be like, there's something else out there. We have limited materials in here, so I'm gonna see what I can find because, he as he says, he's the scavenger king.
Yes, he is. And then we go briefly back to the fight, and all I really want to say about this quick scene is that Mantle gets totally squished.
Dude gets
And
annihilated.
yeah, I don't remember if it was Hyoga or Tsukasa, but they just like everybody gets
There's like a
like a
three-man pile up of
yep.
of because
And
Nikki tried to
Mantle's at
grab
the bottom.
Nikki tried to grab the copper shield for the sonic bomb and got thrust
Yep.
back.
Yep, that's
And
what
and like
happened.
I think she ran into Magma and Mantle,
Yep, I
and
know
Mantle
it
was
was
underneath
definitely
all of them.
Magma and Mantle's at the bottom. Oh, I was like, yes, maybe we'll have one casualty.
Oh, I hope so. That's so mean. I don't
Wish
I
him out of
don't
existence.
no, I'll just take an eraser to the manga and be like, you are no longer here.
He don't exist. Yeah,
No, I don't really want him to die. It's just that
no.
any pain he inflicts is any pain he's inflicted is joy for us.
Yeah, and if he just like never showed up again, they'd be fine. I mean, he's just got that LeFou energy, but like way more annoying.
At least LeFou is sort of charming in a weird,
Yeah,
funny, comical way. Mantle's just sort of like, I'm slightly disturbed by you.
yeah. Yep.
Anyway, we trash talk him enough. I'm sure our listener
I know,
who
but when we
comments on
see
it will love this.
when we see him getting trashed, or I think even the author doesn't like him. Because
No,
remember that one time that Homura just like stepped on him and then like now
there was no
this
reason to
like
include that, but we did.
yeah, okay. Anyway, let's move on. Um it's hard though. Um yes, the science team Senku is trying to mix like some of the miracle fluid with nitric acid with the bat guano,
Wanna
which I think
who?
he said has urea in it. And it's kind of like watching paint dry. They're just like, is something gonna happen? Is there white crystals gonna form? And nothing seems to be happening.
Yeah, I like in the manga, I'm not sure if Senku's trying to be punny, but he says kind of a crappy weapon, but it's better than nothing.
Come on, you gotta throw some jokes in there. Well, in serious situation.
Yep.
Um, and then things are not looking so good for the battle team. Uh, so Kinro, Ginro, and Magma all like team up on Tsukasa, but he totally takes them out. And then honestly, it's Hyoga versus Kohaku, and I feel like Kohaku does a pretty good job of holding her own. She
Yeah.
manages to take his I don't remember what that thing's called. His
The pipe
specials.
spear.
Yeah, but then he has a second one, so kind of in trouble. I would have loved to see her try to use that. It'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but she doesn't get a chance because we go back to the science team and Chrome to the rescue. He has found some of the sulfuric acid, and we've got our Dr. Stone, aka soap, and they add all those things together and they have nitroglycerin, which is very dangerous. And I
Yep.
love the little like, don't try this at home, kids. Like
Crumb's
they
just
they
like, I
have to
don't think
put that in.
anyone would.
Yeah, was that in the manga?
They
Okay.
had to do like good boys and girls don't do this at home. I think
Yeah.
this will come up later, but how they use the nitroglycerin, it's a very dangerous substance. Senku is lucky that he didn't completely kill someone in this. I know he had to use it to like make a statement, but also the fact that they have it and they have like the way they use it, I'm wondering like how they got rid of the excess. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know later they make
Yeah.
dynamite sticks, but I'm wondering how they neutralized the stuff they had on them at the time.
Yeah. I don't know. Because they very carefully set it down, not letting it touch anything.
I'm
I
running
don't
five
know.
miles away. I don't care.
Right, right. But before we get to that, um, I love I don't know, I just wanted to make a note, like Taiju is being his very protective self, like Sukusa's heading for the cave and Taiju has his shield and he's like, I'm not letting you get to Senku. Um, but then they see a little paper airplane flying above them, and the tip has been dipped in nitroglycerin, and it explodes on impact.
And yeah, this is where the believability about using a paper airplane, the kind that Gen makes, they have like the pattern for it in the manga, but it won for like the longest flying paper airplane or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, again, they got extremely lucky they didn't blow somebody up because
Mm-hmm.
paper airplanes, the factor of like having the extra weight on the tip from the liquid could have played a part.
True.
The wind
True.
could have blown it off course. It's not, I mean,
I mean, hopefully,
suspending belief for the show, but
yeah.
still.
Well, hopefully, Senku does all his little math
Calculations.
in that, so maybe he did that and we just didn't see it.
Okay. I trust Senku's judgment for the most part.
Yeah. Yes, so now they have dynamite and basically they've won. Well, at first they're like, yeah, how you gonna like you can't just throw paper airplanes everywhere, like that's not safe. But then our hero comes in, Ukyo, he is indeed alive. Um and he has arrows that have been dipped in the tip has been dipped in
He looks like he's halfway to the
dynamite.
grave, but he's up.
Yep, yep.
Poor
So now
guy.
they've won. And okay, quick little note. We get a little Hyoga face reveal. Like when the
Yes.
dynamite goes off, he's very impressed by it and he like takes off his mask and
He's got those cool like circular scars around his mouth.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Very cool looking.
I'm just glad. Well, obviously I'm glad that Ukio's alive, but like I'm just glad people are looking at him now and not just they're like, oh, later they bandage him up. It's just like,
The
yeah,
whole
he's
thing is
back.
just odd to me,
But
honestly. But
at least in the manga, Chrome is super happy to see him. He goes, Ukio! He's just like beaming ear to ear and Senku's smiling in the background. We're like, there you go, you got one fan.
yep. Which honestly tracks because you are Chrome.
You know people ship Chrome and Ukio together?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't see that.
No, I mean like I see them being good buddies, especially since Ukio saved him that one time. But like,
hmm
well, first of all, Chrome and Brewery.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, also
I
there's
don't,
enough of an
yeah.
age gap for it to be weird.
Yeah, because he's like eight
24
is yeah, yeah.
and Chrome's 16,
16,
17, maybe 17 by
17 at
this
this point.
point, but
Yeah, that's nah. Anyway, um, so now the Kingdom of Science has officially won, but they're like, okay, you won, but now what? Like Tsukasa is not just gonna like roll over and let things be. So they need to do some negotiations. And at first Gen is like, let me do this. Senku, you're terrible at this. But of course Senku just charges right in and I don't know, this was always I don't know. I guess I wouldn't say it totally came out of left field, but Senku was like, you have a sister and she's sick, isn't she? And he like explains like how he put that together because we see
yeah,
Sukusa's
like
backstory.
why would somebody who's so against worldly things be this rich and famous celebrity in our old world? And he's like, you
hmm
had somebody you needed the money for. And based on things Tsukasa had said in the past, Senku's like, your little sister's still alive and she needs to be helped. And like she's a stone statue now, obviously. But that brings us to what Senku can offer in turn for Sukusa's ceasefire.
Yeah, yeah, we like see a little brief snippet of like Sukusa's backstory. Like his sister, I don't know, she must be like in some kind of coma, but they say that she's like brain dead. And so he's like basically getting into fights and getting money to
Pay for her medical bills and
yeah,
things.
and like basically keep her alive because I'm pretty sure they would just
Pull the plug.
if he wasn't doing that, they'd just pull the plug because she's brain dead.
Yeah.
Um,
I yeah, I mean, I understand as a kid why he would do that, like to
hmm
and you should never give up hope on somebody. But I feel like if his parents were active in their children's lives, it's pretty obvious that
hmm
they're not.
Yeah.
Um, but parents who are active in their children's lives, unfortunately, would have to make the call of like, is prolonging her life going to prolong suffering? Is it better to just let her go?
Yeah, I think like yeah, him being a kid, he probably didn't understand, but
Yeah.
like if
But I
somebody
think
is brain dead, like there's not really anything you can
yeah.
do
Although
at that point.
the doctor did, I think, say something kind of cryptic like, little Mirai may never wake up. I'm like, may never doesn't mean
Mm,
never
yeah.
ever. So there was a little sliver of hope there, but
Yeah.
still.
Yes. So Senku offers to revive his sister in exchange for a ceasefire. And I love this like little scene because it brings back a line that Tsukasa said earlier, where at first Tsukasa's like, "How can I trust you?" And Senku's like, "I never lie about science," which is something that Tsukasa said. He said Senku never lies about science,
Yeah.
and so he's like, "Okay, let's do it." Um,
And I think Senku was smart because he's like there's no way to 100% guarantee that this will work because
hmm
like yes, the revival process has healing properties. I mean like I'm living proof of that, but I can't guarantee that it would repair like brain
hmm
damage or bring somebody back from like being brain dead. But
Yeah.
it's worth trying because what else are they going to do? And there's really no other bargaining chip that Tsukasa would care so much about.
hmm And then everybody's working together to clean up after the fight. The battle's over, and then they go to they're like head to the where the hospital used to be. And this is where everybody's like, "Yo, Tsukasa, why did you kill all those statues? Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not okay." And honestly, I kind of felt like his explanation was dumb. Like I didn't feel like he tries to defend himself, but I was like, okay, whatever,
Um,
buddy.
I
I don't
understand
know.
what he was trying to get at, I suppose. Sort of like a what else was I supposed to do? We
Yes,
have to
like
pick and choose how to revive people, but he didn't really, you don't have to smash the statues unless
yes,
he's like,
exactly.
I never want these to be revived
That
again.
was my thing. Like I get picking and choosing who to revive, but smashing the statues, there really was no reason for that. Because
Yeah.
you could just choose not to revive them. Like unless I yeah, like I didn't it didn't quite like connect for me because it was like the whole thing was that he really all he cared about was his sister coming back. And like how does smashing the statues relate to bringing his sister back? Because then,
Yeah,
like, what if, okay, what if, I mean, you don't become a doctor until you're like 30. So, like, if he killed everyone, that,
there'd be no doctors.
yeah, so you could, like, never revive his sister. But anyway,
Okay, hang on. I was flipping through the manga, and from what I can see, that scene isn't in here.
him,
So,
like,
him
explaining,
explaining.
oh,
So, I think
oh,
they might have added that in kind of for a time filler, but also like, yeah, because I feel like if we go based on just the facts given in the manga, you could just say that he was bitter and angry and wanted to make a better world
mm,
for his sister if he could ever
yep,
bring her back. And that's what I always thought. So like, I mean, that explanation is like a surface level, maybe what he would tell these people that he doesn't fully trust yet. But
mm,
if you take the context clues, you can probably find like deeper psychological reasoning for him doing what he's doing. Still doesn't make it right though.
nope, I'm still not on board the Tsukasa train. And Tsukasa is not on board the Kingdom of Science train.
Not
He
yet.
doesn't,
Nope.
he's kind of like, doesn't trust them and isn't gonna just join the Kingdom of Science.
Yep.
Um, but they make it to the hospital and they're using the dynamite to blow up the ground to find his sister. And they do. And then that's where the episode ends.
Yep. And we got some manga extras. We got two Mecha Senku Q&As. The first one, and I think I mentioned this last time, is about Taiju. Is Taiju literally unable to use weapons? I know he took a shield into battle, but it's not like he could ever actually beat anyone with that. And Senku answers, Taiju's ultimate mission was to use his unparalleled toughness and that shield to protect the science team at any cost. If either Tsukasa or Hyoga had ignored the primary battle and made a beeline for the cave, the science team would have been slaughtered in an instant. Taiju's dedication to being a human shield prevented that unfortunate outcome. Each individual has a different role on the battlefield. Taiju's role may seem boring and thankless, but being a humble, unsung hero suits him quite well.
Mm, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then the second Q&A was Gen and Tsukasa apparently met while doing an episode of a TV show. What kind of show was it exactly? It says it was a mental battle. Brains clash against brawn in the showdown of the century. It's mentalist versus top athlete. Senku says it was a variety program where Gen utilized psychology to guess which card Tsukasa had drawn. In truth, though, Gen had a vibrating transmitter hidden in his shoe to tell him the correct card. It was a ruse. And Gen pipes in and says, a ruse? Please. I prefer the term mental magic.
Of course you do again.
It was a ruse. Uh, okay, and then something else fun. So I had listened to an interview that Aaron Dismuke, Senku, had done on like a podcast a while back, and he talked about a part of this episode. So when they are using the sticks of dynamite, he's talking about how the Nobel Prize was created because of the creator of dynamite and like did he use it for good or evil? And Senku has this line of like, why should I care about what some old fart's worth feeling? And so on the podcast, Aaron was like, oh, that line delivery had to be a specific way because I at first pronounced it, why should I care what some old farts are th feeling? And he's like, but that's not accurate to Senku. And the director, Cliff Chapin, had to make sure he nailed it because it's like Senku doesn't have a problem with older people. He actually values their wisdom. What he has a problem with is emotions and expressing emotions. So he had to change the line to from why should I care what some old farts are feeling to why should I care what some old farts were feeling. So like emphasize the feeling word so that it doesn't come across as Senku being like, I don't care about the people.
Yeah. Interesting. I like that. Okay. I guess we don't have too much else except we just started a new show. Um, it's not a new show, but it's a new show for us. We're watching Tokyo Ghoul right now. We're like 6 episodes in, maybe?
About, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I really like it. Well, okay. It's hard because at one point it's like, oh, it looks so cool, and I like the main character, but I'm also like, they're eating people, and I don't
Yeah.
know really how I feel about that.
I like Kaneki as well. I also like Toka, her power. Oh, it's so
Oh,
beautiful. Like
so
the
cool.
Phoenix. Oh man, the visuals are really good. And I know the manga art absolutely rocks too, even though I'm probably never gonna read it because as graphic as it is in the anime, the manga is gonna be 10 times worse.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's intense, so I'm kind of like I'm invested, but I'm not sure if I could say I'm like having as much fun with it as other shows just because of the violence and like you're always on the edge of your seat and going, okay, which character's gonna die?
Hmm.
But strangely enough, the violence it does make me cringe a little bit, but what makes me cringe the most is that dude popping his knuckles over and over again. Like it sounds like he's
Yeah,
breaking his fingers
it
each
is pretty
time.
like, ugh,
Ah.
I don't love it. But yeah, we're liking it so far. We'll see if we get, I don't know. I like the more intense shows.
The music goes
So,
hard.
yep, the music is great, as everybody knows. I think that one intro was like the top for like a few years.
Yeah.
Like the number one intro. It's good. Yeah, I think that's all the extra stuff. The only extra thing we had to share. So now, Megan, what was your favorite line?
The one I already stated, but from Senku. How would I know? And why should I care what some old fart was feeling? Yuck. And what about you, Meg?
Mine was also from Senku when he's like, "Hey, Tsukasa, this isn't a battle between strength and science because science actually is strength."
Out of
Hmm.
way.
Yes. And what did we learn?
Anything can be used for good or bad.
And then who put a story forward?
Thank you for making dynamite and initiating the sea spider.
Yeah, he really was the main character this episode.
Being his shonen protagonist self.
hmm All right. I think that's all we've got for this episode. A little bit of a shorter one this time, I think, which is okay. Um, ooh, also, okay, I think this episode's gonna come out in the new year. So, Happy New Year!
Happy 2025.
We made it.
Oh.
You didn't see, but I just did peace sign. Okay. See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.